Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Female Film Critics panel. And today, this is very exciting. We have a very special guest with us. We have theater and film critic Joyce Kulhawik. And thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
You're very welcome, Rachel. And I have to say, I just want to begin by saying, first of all, thank you. Second of all, I am so happy to see a woman championing other women, leading the discourse around film, around theater, around narrative, because so many men run this conversation.
Well, it all started actually. I had like a pretty bad experience where I was targeted by crazy superhero movie fans that, death threats, the whole thing, but it was a pretty bad case of it. And I just felt so isolated. This was right around the pandemic. Then I just needed that that shared experience. I needed to talk to other people who were experiencing the same things that I was experiencing. So I just started, and then I've been able to keep it up all these years, and so it's been such an awesome experience, a privilege.
Pushing back on your movie reviews,
Yeah, yeah,
complaining about your reviews online.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they literally there was a point. It was a group called F Marvel Tards, and they
Oh,
were upset with my Shazam review, and so I literally got there was a mass shooting threat. It was insane, and I thought that I had pretty thick skin, but it did rattle me for
I can
sure.
understand it. And as you get older, and as I've told you, I am 172 years old. So I know what I'm talking about. You have to really learn to filter all that out. It's
Yeah,
noise. Easier said
yeah,
than done, but don't go there. Number one. Number two, the people who are doing that are really unworthy. They
right.
are ignorant and unworthy because what
Mhm.
we do when we give our opinions and construct an argument and put out our point of view is to stimulate ideas, conversation, and thinking, and to open up the work. And if that's what you're interested in, then be part of the conversation. But it's
Yeah,
not about somebody is wrong, somebody is right. I mean, you could feel very strongly, obviously, about an opinion, but
yeah,
this has got nothing to do with dictating how one should feel. This is about an exchange, and it's
yeah.
something we have forgotten how to do in our country, and it's only gotten worse with online trolling.
Yeah.
So these
Well,
are
it's
unworthy.
sad because people need some kind of sense of belonging, and they sometimes find it in this like corporate tribe that they've created for themselves. And so
Gang. I would
you
call it a gang. Ganging up,
yeah.
gang. It's thug-like
Yeah.
behavior. Has nothing to do with the intellect. It has nothing to do with a real exchange of experiences and ideas. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm all about. That's what
Mhm.
I'm interested in.
Well, how did you first get started? What was your early influences as far as film?
I have some very interesting experiences, but I looked through your playlist too and heard the same from a lot of people.
Okay.
From the time I was a little girl, I just loved movies. I loved all the arts. I loved
Yeah.
theater. I loved dance. I loved music. I thought I was going to be an actress or a nun. It was all very
One
dramatic.
or the other. Yeah.
One or the other. But I was always interested in stories and narrative, and it's very easy to get lost in a film and escape and have an experience. It's very seductive, it's very sensual, it's very stimulating. So
Yeah.
I loved all that. My mother loved movies, and we would watch movies and cry together. I mean, I'll never forget watching Backstreet with Susan Hayward in the final moments where, John Gavin is dying and the kids are there and she's weeping. And I'll never forget it, but we turned off the TV, we looked at each other, and both of us like ran to the bathroom. We were crying our eyes out. I must have been like
Yeah.
8, I
Yeah.
mean, but my first one of my first big experiences, I would say probably um something that made, well, two things made an indelible mark on me, and that was Snow White, the animated Disney
Mhm.
masterpiece.
Right.
And I would challenge anybody to go back and watch that again. I mean, I know I'm preaching to the converted here. It's a
Mhm.
beautiful piece of work. And deeply unsettling and
Yeah.
terrifying.
It holds up. It really does.
Oh, more than holds up. And it was groundbreaking at the time
Yeah.
for so many reasons, just in terms of its long form, in terms of the technology and the way they crafted those animation cells. That was new. They had depth, and that running through the forest was terrifying. So that was one film that had an awful lot to do with my experience of movies, and I was
Hmm.
really young when that came out. But the other one is really kind of crazy. My parents used to go to the drive-in movie, and they would take me and my brother with them, and we would all pack into the car with snacks, and we'd turn the back seat into like one whole level, mattress, and inevitably we would fall asleep, or my brother would, but I never did. And one night they took us to see a movie called Psycho.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I think I was, I don't know, 6 when that,
Oh,
and my brother was asleep. I was glued from the back seat, my eyes popping out of my head. I will never forget those scenes and Janet Leigh in the shower curtain and the,
the
the
trauma.
and the drain. And I'm thinking, why was I not, well, I was traumatized for about 48 hours. I mean, I had to sleep with my parents that night, and I was like, ah. But there was something else going on for me, which was that it was extraordinarily stimulating and
Yeah.
captivating, and it made me feel so much, and I loved that feeling.
Yeah.
I love that feeling. So I have to thank my parents and Psycho and all of those things. So I've loved movies ever since.
Yeah.
I just love movies, and I'll see a double feature every chance I get.
Hmm.
When I see one, ooh, I want to see another one. And then when I come home, I want to watch a movie. I want to watch 2 movies.
Yeah. Those emotion heavy movies are so memorable. Like I remember watching Pollyanna and just being
Oh,
so upset.
Haley Mills. Oh, I
So
love
upset. So upset.
Pollyanna.
That's so good.
And the goodness of Pollyanna, how she
Yeah.
melted the hearts of everybody in that
And then
town.
when her spirit is finally defeated, you're just like, oh no. It's
I, I,
devastating.
I
Uh,
love that movie.
yeah, that's when I remember. I remember being absolutely terrified by Return to Oz. That was one that
Oh,
really, really terrified me. The hallway, there's the scene where the evil witch, whatever, is
yeah.
in her lair, and she's got a hallway of heads. It's just these
Oh.
heads, and they're all staring at Dorothy, and it's like, oh my,
Well, it's so funny you mentioned Oz because, when I was growing up and I was watching TV in the 50s, so that was really the
sure.
beginning of the 50s and the early 60s, whenever The Wizard of Oz would come on TV, and that was once a year, we would be like all over that. I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
glued to that. But the funny thing about that was we didn't have a color TV. We had a black and white
Oh
TV. So I had
wow.
no idea that when she got into Oz, it was all colorful.
Oh wow.
I still thought it was amazing.
Yeah, yeah,
I
that's
love those little
crazy.
munchkins, and I loved, oh my God, I love Margaret Hamilton,
Oh my
I, lo- I
gosh.
loved her.
Eh,
I'll have those slippers.
yeah. And I think that Judy Garland's performance is
Oh,
a little bit underappreciated. She's really good. Like when she's breaking down, and that's what always it makes me kind of laugh. I loved Wicked, loved it, but it does
me
make me
too.
kind of laugh, that like sure, this nice lady is there making Dorothy sob and it's like that's really add up, but it's all right.
Judy Garland is somebody that you either get her right away, and if you don't, if you watch
Yeah.
her over and over, she really gl grows on you. The woman was so well, she had a lovely
Yeah.
voice as a young woman, and then it kind of fell apart. The vibrato got so wide you could drive a truck through it, unfortunately. But her truth, her sincerity, her genuine buoyancy on the screen,
Yeah.
her delight, that she could spin all around her was so it popped right through the screen. And she
Yeah.
wasn't a great beauty, and she was a good dancer, she was a good singer, but it was the whole package. She
Mhm.
would literally light up that screen with her
Yeah.
goodness and joy and sense of delight.
I love Meet Me in St. Louis so much. That's a favorite. When she starts to when the little girl when Trudy starts breaking up all this the snowman,
Yeah,
that's a oh that scene gets to me.
I know. I love Judy's hair in that. I love all the
Yeah.
costumes, the bustles, the sweetness of
Mm,
that era, the
yeah.
boy next door and oh my God.
So good.
Are you a fan of Rachel's Reviews? Do you look forward to Family Movie Night, Female Film Critics panels, or the Talking Disney podcast? If so, please consider supporting the podcast by becoming a Patreon. As a patron, you get to access monthly events such as the watch-alongs and Q&As, where you get to talk to stars and find out the behind the scenes of the movie making industry. And you can pick what I review for Family Movie Night or even become a guest on the podcast. Podcasts and YouTube channels are expensive, and I really, really could use your help. I would so appreciate it. You also get to be a member of the Facebook group where we talk about all the films that we're seeing, and we have so much fun. Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies and select one of the Rachel's fan tiers. That's patreon.com/hallmarkies.
Well, so what was your education like? Did you study journalism? Was that kind of where you
No,
went?
no, I didn't study journalism. I was an English major, as many film critics are. I have a master's in English and in teaching, and I minored in music. So I
Oh,
play the piano, I sing, I was my parish church organist and soloist. I actually was a teacher for a while, a high school English teacher. And then but I didn't like that at all. I found it emotionally quite draining. It's a real vocation.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I was very young. I was 22. The kids were 17. There wasn't that much, daylight
Yeah.
between us. It was really taxing. But there were things about it that I liked. I liked the material. I taught everything from honors Shakespeare to basic grammar and composition. So, but it was just so much emotional weight. These kids, when you're a teenager, they bring the whole thing in with them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you're trying to teach them what a sentence is. So I knew all that. You could sense it, you could feel it, but I couldn't address it all. And then there were 165 students a week, and then I got asked out to the junior prom like my second week at school. I mean, it was really
Yeah.
it was really tricky. So I got out, and I took a lot of different kinds of uh, quick jobs, and then got a job. Well, that summer, I had three sort of semi-mystical things happen to me, all pointing me in the direction of television, which I'd never thought about, and I didn't major in communications. And I don't tell anybody to major in communications. I think you shouldn't major in communication.
Yeah.
I think you should double major in communications
Mm.
because you need something to communicate, like, you know,
That's smart. That's smart. That makes sense. Yeah.
communications and history, literature,
Yeah.
math, political science, something. You need
Yeah.
a lens
That makes sense.
which to view the world, to hang your viewpoint on, something that speaks to you. And the communications is like a vocational skill. And I already had that in spades. I could always talk and I could always present, and I'm very logical. So my mother said I spoke early and quite clearly. So
Hmm.
I, so I had those kinds of skills, but I hadn't been on television, but I'd done other kinds of presentational things and oratory. And even though I was kind of shy, believe it or not, I was always more reserved. And then I came out a little bit more. I think, if you focus on what you're good at, your skill set, that feeds itself as opposed to your passion in a sense. I don't know. Maybe they're
Hmm.
related, but the things
Yeah.
you're good at reward us, and then we're inclined to want to refine them.
Hmm.
So in any case, I ended up at an audition, which I was a total fluke for a new show. called Evening Magazine. And I forgot everything I was going to say. I was totally nervous. There was a camera. I thought, oh my God, they had a microphone on me. I couldn't remember a thing. And I got done. And also, there were all these women who also showed up who were tall and blonde and voluptuous, and they had 3-inch heels on and their modeling portfolios. And I thought, okay, they're not looking for you, they're looking for that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I thought, but I have a good education. I might get a job behind the scenes. And for some reason, as I ran away, the producer jumped out of the truck, came running over to me and said, hey, I think you've got something we're looking for. And I
Oh my
thought,
gosh.
what? Amnesia? I forgot everything. He said, no, 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 just come back, put your notes away. Let us just ask you a couple of questions on camera. I did. 3 weeks later, they hired me on the sixth largest
Wow.
market in the country with no experience, no connections, no whatever. But I was pretty equipped for what I was going to have to do, which was report on. Actually, this show was a magazine type format where no one was sitting behind a desk or anything like that. We were just out telling stories essentially.
Uh-huh.
And I could do that. And because I love movies and had seen so many movies, for me to
Yeah.
sit with an editor and arrange images with music. And I was a writer. I was an English major. I had analyzed, the poetry of Donne and Keats and Shakespeare. So for me, all the things were there. This was a new format, and I took to it, and the hours were great. I'm a night owl. That was the other thing about teaching. I am not a
Yeah.
I know you mentioned wanting to do this talk in the morning, and I thought, no, I won't even be
Yeah.
awake.
Yeah.
I'm entering prime time right now. Um, so I did that for 3 years, and then they wanted to promote me into news, and they wanted me to be on their news team as a consumer reporter. And I said, well, I could do that for you, but I don't really care about consumer issues. What I care about are the arts. And they said,
Mhm.
don't you understand this is a promotion? I said, I've already had jobs I don't like. I'll stick with Evening Magazine for now. 6 months later, they came to me and said, we're going to do that. We're going to do arts. In fact, we're going to make arts coverage a key part of our news organization.
Oh,
I'll launch a whole campaign called You Gotta Have Arts. And I
oh,
essentially pioneered that beat in Boston. And I believe I was the first full-time arts and entertainment reporter slash critic in the country who was part of a regular daily newscast. News,
that's
sports,
incredible.
weather, arts, and entertainment. And I did that in Boston for almost 30 years. And it became so competitive that, well, the New York Times wrote an editorial about it. It was an incredible interface with the community. All the other stations in town hired arts and entertainment reporters. So all of our remarkable cultural institutions finally
Yeah.
had an outlet for what they were doing, which was the best part of ourselves every night, not just rapes, robberies, and murders, but also
Yes.
Baryshnikov dancing and Scorsese making a movie and rock and roll on our streets. And, just it was pretty remarkable.
Oh, that's I wish that we still had more of that today, like our local the Desert News here in Utah, zero arts critics
Yeah.
now. They don't have a movie critic, they don't have anything.
And do we need it more than ever before?
Yes.
And people don't understand what it is. What are
Yeah.
arts? They think it's some sort of elitist kind of frilly thing, so it's the first thing to get cut, when essentially it is a through line to our humanity
Hmm.
and a through line out to express who we are across all kinds of boundaries that
It's
lift us.
true.
Music, universal language, movies, other people have noted Ebert's very well-known saying
Yeah.
about movies being an empathy machine. And in
Yeah.
fact, that's exactly what's so. And I sat with him for a year. He is all about the movies. He wasn't about his ego or his fame or any of that. He was a phenomenal
Yeah.
human, truly interested in wanting to have the conversation, and we got into some things.
Yeah, I'm so excited to talk to you about that. But so how did you get connected with Leonard Maltin? Because that was before Ebert, right?
That was right after Ebert.
Oh, after.
It was
Okay.
right after Ebert. Gene Siskel passed away.
Oh,
They were looking for somebody to take his place. I was one of the many people who sat in with him. It came down to me and a couple other folks, and
yeah.
not want to leave Boston. I had a full-time
Okay.
here, and Roger and I really hit it off. That's all I can
Yeah.
say about this. We were
Was
actually, in
was
prom.
that nerve-wracking for you? Were you scared at
I
all?
was
Or
scared. I was
yeah,
scared. I'd have to say that was the height of my professional career as a
yeah,
critic. I mean, to be sitting thumb to thumb in the balcony with Roger Ebert, it doesn't get better than that.
sure.
A wonderful
Yeah,
critic and a wonderful human. Uh,
yeah,
and as I say, I was a local critic from Boston,
yeah,
and he was willing to sit and have an, a conversation, a respectful conversation with me about a movie. And it
yeah.
wasn't about his trying to, overshadow me, or I don't know, throw his weight around or whatever it was. No, no, we were equals in that balcony, I guess is
Uh-huh.
what I'm trying to say. And that was the
Yeah.
tone he set. And I will never forget the first time I sat with him and we finished our first whatever, and I was barely able. I was like, I can't even believe I've just done this. And the whole team of camera people and light people applauded. They said,
Oh my
that's great
gosh.
chemistry. That was just such good chemistry right there. And I'm still in touch with Chaz, his wife, on Bert.com. So that was pretty remarkable. And what happened to him was so extraordinarily tragic.
Yeah.
Yeah, extraordinarily tragic. But he eked out every last bit, wrote that beautiful book. And I
Mhm.
actually did speak with him through that mechanism that he,
Mhm.
spoke through. But I was terrified half the time because I couldn't believe the platform.
Yeah.
But I liked my sure thing, whatever in Boston, and
Mhm.
I stayed. And my state
Well,
was very good about that.
you famously disagreed with him quite strongly on Gladiator. He was not a fan, and you defended that movie. What was that experience like?
It was very funny. I remember
Yeah.
saying, that I thought Russell Crowe was like Richard Burton, and that it was powerful and potent. And he was like, he thought it didn't look good and whatever.
Yeah.
And I said, well, and then it went on to win Best
Hey,
Picture, which doesn't mean it was the best picture. I mean,
right.
yeah,
He said it was murky, I think was his words. He
it was
thought it
murky,
was,
and that's
yeah.
been a criticism leveled at it. I was looking past the murk, and maybe wasn't as tuned into the murk because I was all wrapped up in the drama and the performances, which were pretty
Yeah.
extraordinary, and the
Yeah.
actual, the compelling narrative.
Yeah.
The momentum, the dramatic momentum of it. And
Hmm.
when we got all done taping that segment, he turned to his producer and he said, "Do you think we saw a bad print?" I made him question it.
That's so funny.
That's cool. It was pretty cool,
Yeah.
I have to say. So whatever.
Yeah.
He was, we had the conversation.
Yeah.
Nobody came to blows and nobody died.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious about Magnolia. That was another famous disagreement that you
Yeah.
had. Have you come around on Magnolia or are you
No,
still?
I never said I hate, this got so blown out of proportion. I got death threats over that, which was
Oh no. Yeah.
asinine. Honestly, the assholery that's out there is extraordinary. But yeah, I didn't think the ending worked. I was not
No.
alone in that. I thought
I mean, I agree. I think it's a slog to be honest, but
it was pretty muscular. No, I mean it was
yeah.
muscular, it was gripping. Those performances were amazing, and what he was trying to do there was really uh potent. I just thought he ended up throwing all the pieces up in the air at the end, and it came down as frogs. What can I
Mhm.
say?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it did not work for me. And
Mhm.
Ebert was trying to make a case about, many people make the case that it's about the random nature of life, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think he'd made that case. And I thought there were other ways to make it without taking it
Yeah.
out of what he had set up. He created this
Yeah.
experience of sort of with biblical implications, which made no sense to me, whether or not that has ever happened before in real life. I just it pulled me out. What can I?
Yeah.
But I
I
don't think I
mean,
don't think the film is worthless. I think it's a wonderful piece of work, and it's
mhm.
interesting choice that he made at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
People
Very
want
good.
to kill me over that.
Yeah. Well, one that you both agreed on was the Iron Giant.
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah.
it's
What
so
a
funny. I
wonderful.
barely remember that film now, but I'm not a big animation person,
Okay.
even though
Yeah.
Snow White is a fave of mine.
Hmm.
But I've gotten very tired of animation tropes and the kinds of, oh, snap, crackle, pop dialogue. And oh, I hated that robot film that we just had this past year. What
Oh, you didn't like the Wild Robot?
I hated that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I thought it made no sense. I thought
Uh-huh.
it made absolutely no thematic sense to have all of these animals like cozying up to each other when in fact they're all part of the food chain. They're all going to eat each other,
Yeah.
Like I mean, I'd have to see it again to pick apart exactly why I didn't like it. I thought it was sappy. I thought it mixed up a lot of themes that did not sit comfortably with each other. I mean, if you're trying to make a statement about the environment or about kindness or what, I thought using animals in that way was odd, and then turning a robot into, I wish I could be more articulate about this, but
Hmm.
I'd have to see it again.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd have to sit through it again.
What I really loved about it was the idea of like the impact of nurturing. I thought that was a beautiful theme of the movie that like it, even though it's a robot, like it can't help but change you. Like to raise another, to nurture, to cultivate another person or creature. I thought that
Mhm.
was really beautiful and well done. But yeah, I get it. It's we all have, different
And
opinions.
I
It's
think
fun.
critics have to be very willing to say what they really think. I mean,
Yes.
my criteria is my criteria, and
Yeah.
what I'm giving you is me. And if I'm
Mhm.
your sort of critic, then if I love it, you're going to love it, or you
Yeah.
use me a different way. If you know I love it, you're going to hate it.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't a big fan of the Best Picture winner of Honora. I didn't love that.
Yeah,
So,
interesting. And I
yeah.
did love that.
I just thought it was too shouty. I was just annoyed by it. I didn't think it was funny. And people had kind of sold it to me as like a screwball comedy, and I still don't really get that. Like I I, I
Oh,
don't know.
wow.
Like
Okay.
it
Let me
has
convince
has
you.
moments. It has moments, I guess, but like I don't know. I was just like, why is this woman shrieking for like the whole
Well,
movie? And
that it went
so
on so long to me became absurdly funny.
yeah, yeah.
And that they stopped short of doing anything to her. I mean, at any point they could have, in a
Yeah.
normal whatever in the rhetoric of the day, anybody would have taken out a gun and just shot her. But it was clear they weren't going to, and
Hmm.
that they were trying to contain her, and she was all out of control.
Yeah.
So that got absurdly funny to me. But
I could see
to
that.
me, one of the funnier scenes was when the Russian thugs were lecturing those young hoodlums, was it in a diner, about how they had no respect for
Oh, yeah.
their elders or for how to behave. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's what this is about. This
Hmm.
is really what this is about. It's really about, well, it was ultimately to me about the transactional nature of relationships. I mean, first of all, she's a stripper, she's a sex worker, and so this is a transactional relationship, and it's the path that she chose for a variety of reasons that were maybe predetermined by her economic circumstances, her social circumstances, but and that it was reiterated on that level with the very wealthy kid, the empty-headed
Hmm.
idiot that she, cute but feckless,
Right.
got involved with, and his parents who were completely driven by material things, and and yet she was able to finally excavate her humanity in the company of that one bodyguard thug, whatever. I can't remember his name, but he was not.
Right, right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And the final scene for me, when she collapses on him, able to kind of finally drop her guard, to me was a beautiful, beautiful thing.
So
And
would it have been your pick for Best Picture if you were in the
it's a
Academy?
tricky year. I liked Nora. What else was it up against this year? What else?
Well, there was The Substance, there
I
was
love this substance.
Brutalist, there was
Again, I wasn't a big fan of The Brutalist. It was
mm,
okay for me. It went
mhm.
on too long. I didn't like what's his name's performance. I liked Adrian Brody's performance, but I didn't like Pierce Guy.
Oh, Guy Pearce, Guy Pearce.
I thought it was fake.
Mm.
Um,
Wicked.
I
That
liked
would have been,
Wicked. To
as
me, it
far as,
wasn't art. It was a big entertainment.
yeah, but I
Tracy,
guess I did give it some extra points because most big budget entertainment really fell flat for me last year. I
yeah.
was a grump with almost all the studio pictures. There was only a handful
Did
that
you
worked
like
for
Wicked?
me. Did I like what?
Did you like Wicked?
I loved
Yeah,
Wicked. I thought it
I
was
liked Wicked.
amazing. And so that was one of the few studio films. I mean, I had a rough stretch there, especially last summer, where I
Yeah.
didn't like that Apes movie. I thought it was so boring. I wasn't a big Furiosa fan. I wasn't like it was
Oh, yeah.
just one. I thought that Quiet Place movie wasn't good. I just
Yeah.
had one after another that I was disappointed by to varying degrees. And so I don't know. It did feel like special to me of like a studio big glossy film that I actually
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
No, I thought it was
Yeah,
extremely well done.
it
And I
was
came in
really good.
prepared to hate it. And
Yeah,
I thought, oh, it's going to be crushed under the weight of all that stuff.
yeah,
And really, there was a lot of stuff in every scene.
yeah.
But those performances were so remarkable.
Oh, yeah. I am still a little worried about part two
Yeah.
because I just don't know how you make a whole movie off that second act. I mean, obviously they're gonna have to add a bunch, but that makes me a little
Yeah.
nervous. And I'm like,
Yeah.
because there's just
Let's
not
hope
that
it's
much
shorter.
that's like it's a very top heavy musical,
Yeah.
act one heavy musical. The
Yeah.
second act has like three songs and then all reprises. So um I just don't know like how do you make a whole movie off of that? So we'll see. I mean, they did such a good job that I'm confident that they'll continue to do a great job.
Doesn't
But
have to be 3 hours long. All right. So let's
yeah.
start there. It
Yes.
could be a 90-minute second part, we'll
Uh-huh.
see. But I do love the show as well. I love that music.
Yeah.
Love that musical.
Yeah.
Looking for some great beach reads for your summer holidays? Check out the Beach Rose Path books by Barbara Madison. In the first book, Beach Rose Path, Barbara introduces us to Charlotte Templeton, a woman at a crossroads in her life, and how a change in scenery changes everything. Moving to a coastal Maine town and meeting the charming Duncan takes her on a journey of love and hope for the future. In the sequel, The Rocking of the Ocean, we follow Charlotte and Duncan as life continues to surprise them. Long buried secrets are revealed, family is tested, and love flourishes. Pick up both Beach Rose Path books wherever you purchase your summer books, or use the affiliate link below. That's Beach Rose Path and The Rocking of the Ocean by Barbara Madison. Pick them up today.
So the president of the Boston Theater Critics
Yeah,
Association.
I want to talk about that for a little
I
bit. So
see everything in town. I have to see everything. And
yeah.
yeah, and then we give awards at the end of the year, which we just finished in June, and the Elliot Norton Awards. Wonderful.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So what was your first, do you remember your first introduction to theater, to live theater?
You know, well, I used to take the train into New York City. I grew up in Connecticut, in the Bridgeport, Connecticut, tough working class town. And I used to train in with my girlfriends, and we would like 12 and 13, and we were hopping on the train when you would do
Yeah,
that.
sure.
And with our little pocketbooks and whatever, and we go see a matinee. So I saw, um, oh my gosh, I saw Angela, uh, oh, Lansbury
Lansbury?
in
Yeah.
Mame. I saw
Oh
I
wow.
saw Mary Martin and Robert Preston in I Do, I Do. I
Oh,
saw, and then we would go to Sardi's afterwards across the street or right in the theater, and I would order that fabulous dessert called Boccone Dolce, which was like meringue and fruit and strawberries and chocolate. And it was like we just thought we were, on Broadway.
yeah.
Those
It-
were my first experiences with theater, and I love live theater.
yeah.
Very different from movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think that one is more challenging to review than the other?
No, I think that they just have different sets of criteria. I mean, there's there's a thrill you can get from being in a theater where the performance is happening with warm bodies on the stage right in front of you, and it's a one-off that is not
Mhm.
going to be captured, it cannot be repeated. Whatever the particular vibe is with that audience and those people that day at that time, and when that
Yeah.
catches, that is extraordinary. It's extraordinary. I've left the theater weeping, tears rolling down my cheeks because I'm with someone who's having an experience right then in front of me on a stage. That's really potent. I will say that that's much harder to pull off than a movie in a sense. That's very difficult to put because you have to suspend a kind of disbelief. You have to put a distance there. I mean, in a movie, the distance is kind of built in. There's a screen, and then you can enter that world, and it can take you over. When you have got people right in front of you, you've got to really be able to sign on, and they have to be really in it for you to become involved in that world. And that's really difficult to pull off. But when that happens, it's like nothing else.
Well,
So
and I think too, like the imperfections can also make it just like part of the experience. Like you'll see a performer, maybe they're a little bit nervous or a little at the beginning, and then by the end, when they hit that note, and they, like there's a sense of sort of group like cheering, and that can
yeah,
happen with a.
yeah. I mean,
It's so fun.
you're feeling the vibration in the room at the moment, and you're really connected. For me,
Hmm.
I don't have to see a movie with an audience. I
Mm,
don't have to. A lot of people talk about that communal thing with it. And it's like, you know what? I have to say for me, that's way down on the totem pole in terms of
interesting.
how much I enjoy a film. I can be and often am, and most often am seeing movies alone. I
Hmm.
go during the day, I go to a screening with a handful of people, or I'm watching something on my TV here at home and i'm I'm in that world. I am oblivious to what's going on. In fact, I don't even want to watch it with anybody sometimes because I don't want to be distracted. I don't want them pulling
Yeah.
me out of whatever I'm in. If people, we have an Oscar party every year, we watch with a bunch of people, and my rule is you have to shut up while this is going on because I want to hear every speech. I want to hear every flub. I want to see every gaffe. I want to see hear every joke that doesn't work. I want to see the looks on their faces when they win, when they lose. I want to hear what they muster up when they get up on that stage and have to accept as themselves. I mean, I covered the Oscars for years, like 25 years on that red carpet. And the things you see are really kind of remarkable. You see them kind of adorned, but out of character in their own
Hmm.
skin, sort
Yeah.
of, but it's different than watching them on the screen. So
Mhm.
anyway, I can be watching television or anything on a screen alone. It's fine. But the theater, I can't even imagine being in a theater by myself. I can't
Now,
imagine.
now, a lot of people grumble about the fact that a large percentage of new Broadway shows are based on movies.
Yeah.
And so how do you feel? I guess how do you feel about that as a movie critic and theater critic? And also, why do you think that a large proportion of the attempts of stage to screen, obviously Wicked is an exception, that was incredible, but a
Yeah.
lot of them have been underwhelming, the film adaptations of Broadway shows.
Yeah.
Why do you think that it doesn't necessarily translate?
Well, it's a totally different medium. I mean, honestly, when a thing is in a proscenium or even whatever, I mean, it's a different creature.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best transitions to me was Funny Girl. That was,
Mm.
Barbara Streisand on stage, but also on screen. I saw that movie 3 times, and that absolutely worked. Cabaret absolutely works. Um,
They changed it a lot though, didn't they?
they had to change it because you've got to
Mm.
shoot it from multi points of view.
Mhm.
You need a cinematographer in there, and you've got to have the right person.
Well, in Sound of Music, they changed that around. Like the stage is really different.
Yeah, well, you've got to open it up. I mean,
Yeah.
that's one of the things you have to do. You got to take it outside. You can't just have it be, inside. So,
Yeah.
that opening scene of The Sound of Music where she's standing on that top of that mountain swinging around as the little novice, that nun that I always wanted to be. And then she found out, that she
Mhm.
wasn't going to be that nun. But I think they shot that with like there was an airplane coming over,
Helicopter, yeah.
helicopter, yeah, and it was too loud, and the wind kept doing. They had to figure out how to do that. Now they do it with drones. You see,
Mhm,
notice all those
mhm.
drone shots. But anyway, that's one of the things
Yeah,
you have to do when you take a piece of theater. You've got to open it up and let it breathe a little more on screen.
yeah.
The one with Catherine Zeta-Jones, Chicago, that absolutely worked. That was
Mhm. Yeah,
remarkable.
that's a good one.
I still remember her dancing, doing a number from that at the Oscars, I think while she was pregnant on
Oh
stage. It
yeah.
was unbelievable. So
Mhm.
sometimes it works, but everybody's in the same boat in terms of business models that are totally in flux, the old models don't work anymore. And everybody's trying to figure out how to make money, how to stay within costs, how to attract audiences, which are now completely diffuse. I mean, the audience is
Yeah.
everywhere now. They're in theaters, not as much, but they're also at home. They're also online. They're on their phones. I mean, and people are trying to figure out how to reach all of them in a format that's flexible, you know?
Mhm. Well, I think they should look into doing more of these. Like they just did this live stream with a good Night and Good Luck on Broadway, and and it got like really good ratings for cable TV these days. And so I think they should look into that more because I don't think it would hurt the box office of the theaters very much. Just because somebody can see it on TV does not mean they're not going to go and see it in person because the experiences are fundamentally different.
I'm so glad you brought this up, Rachel. It's something that I mentioned 20 years ago to the producer of Wicked, John Platt. And he's a Boston guy. That's how I know him.
Yeah.
And I said, John, why don't they take opening nights and on Broadway or some
Yeah.
night on Broadway and broadcast it in a theater or on television? Why don't
Yeah.
they do that? Because you're absolutely right. How many people are going to get to Broadway? Plenty won't. And the rest will watch touring companies. But first of all, to preserve those performances, many things are
Yeah.
not preserved. They're gone. They've disappeared. They're in the ether.
That's true.
And to open the doors, I think it would whet people's appetite to see more when that show then does come to town with a different
Yeah.
cast.
Because like the Metropolitan Opera, they've had success with their, and so I really, and I mean, Hamilton has been on Disney Plus for all these years. It hasn't hurt. It hasn't hurt. I mean, Hamilton is its own thing. I get it, but still, it hasn't hurt it one bit. There's nobody who's like, well, I can
Unreasonable.
watch it at home or I can go see it. They're two totally different experiences,
Completely
you
different
know.
experiences. You're reminding me of two things. Number one, when videotape first came out, because I honestly remember this. I remember
Yeah.
working at Evening Magazine, and I remember our producer, Tom Houghton, walking out of one of the little editing bays with a thing that was the size of a small suitcase, let's say. And it was a videotape, 3/4 inch videotape. He said, "You see this? This was like 35 years ago, 40 years ago. You see this? People are one day going to be able to take this home and play a whole movie at home on their TV." I said, "Really? You think?" And then there was such pushback because people were worried that was going to
Yeah.
ruin movies. And
Yeah.
in fact, it kind of blew up movies. I mean, in the sense of like, when your phone blows up, it made people's appetite for movies greater. There was yet now another platform on which to disseminate, or another, an ancillary revenue stream, or so we're just in the
Yeah.
process of trying to figure all that out. So that's one thing. I believe more can be more, not less.
Yeah.
But
I
the other
agree.
thing, and I'm trying to think of what the other thing was that I was going to say. Um, well,
About pro shots.
it'll
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But about why they don't take more Broadway shows and put them on,
Yeah.
TV. And I was told initially that there were so many overlapping constituencies, like unions, et cetera, and everybody who would want a piece of this and that, and
No.
it was a thicket of administrative sludge, let's say, to get through, to figure this out. And I mean, it's what the writer's strike was essentially all about.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah.
How do you get a fair share of what you participated in in a way that was not just like syndication fees, but this is different. This is different. So I mean, people can figure this out. Let's put the Harvard B School on it. Not impossible. It's not impossible, but I think it's important to do.
So if somebody from one of these big studios were going to come to, say, Disney or Warner Brothers, whatever, if they were going to come to you and say, Joyce, what should we do? What's your big advice? What would be your first thing you say to, what would you say?
Do in terms of what, making money?
Yeah, or just as far as making movies, what would you suggest? Make better movies.
Yeah, make better movies. I mean, I think there are a lot of good movies out there now, but you just have to get through, some of the stuff that's made with no heart in a way. People have, you've seen The Studio on streaming, and there's some phenomenal things on streaming, honestly. But but when people just kind of in a very mercenary way just say, oh, well, these high concept things where we could put this with this with this with this and it'll turn a profit, or we're going to capitalize on some retread, or we're just going to do a sequel upon sequel upon sequel. People are sick of that. I know. I'm sick of it. Everyone's sick of it. I'm tired of superheroes. I'm deeply wedded to the real world on the big screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't, what would I say? Gosh, I don't know. They
put you on the board of directors.
Oh, man. I don't look out, because I won't shut up. But,
I think this is just a little
smart people.
Yeah.
Smart, creative people, give them ways to go after niches of people, go after niches of people. I mean, it isn't all just 12 and 13-year-old boys. And I know the global market is a big thing. So action really sells, and low dialogue movies really sell because they're easy to market, globally.
Globally,
I got that. So, a lot of what actors do is they do like, Ben Affleck and Matt talk about this, and they're from Boston. They're like, I love them. They make like, one for them and then one like to pay the bills, and I think the movie studios probably, can satisfy a lot of needs and create cover for smaller projects that are going to reach niche markets that will flow to the top. And I think a movie like Nora, for example, was a great example of something like that. Movies are slowly but surely becoming more adventuresome and more personal. There are more people involved. There are more women involved, but it's taking a long time. Yeah.
I was hopeful when they first talked about streaming, when they first announced streaming, I was hopeful there would be a way that the studios could kind of reintroduce films that had maybe gotten forgotten or gotten missed, or had maybe become a cult classic but hadn't gotten mainstream. That it was more of a risk to do a physical media release. So I thought, oh, this could be a way that they wouldn't have that risk, but it could be a way of celebrating these sort of smaller or forgotten
it's a
films.
Great idea. You ought to go watch it.
But it's never really lived up to that potential. But I would love that to be a thing, that every once in a while you'll have, I'm trying to think of there'll be some really random movie that ends up pinging on Netflix for some bizarre reason, and nobody really understands why all of a sudden everyone's talking about some random movie. But I do think that's a missed opportunity. Like, you already own the property, you've already made it, you have it. Why not like use it in some kind of creative way, especially in this day and age where marketing it can be so much more affordable than it ever was before. That you can start some enthusiasm, some campaigning around something for pennies on the dollar of what it used to cost to do something like that.
What you're suggesting would require some very interesting curation of the content.
Yeah.
So my first thought was that TCM already kind of does this.
Yes.
They do it with a lot of wonderful movies that they package in very clever ways. I mean, they organize it around an older star's birthday, and then they get a lot of other people to weigh in on that, and then they have their experts who talk about what was significant about them, and they've highlighted so many older films that are just gorgeous and wonderful, and then into different genres like their film noir or their rom-com stuff, or their,
Mhm.
so they've figured out how to format and market what they've got, and their music. And oh my God, those songs,
Yeah,
the interstitial music is beautiful.
that's true.
Yeah. So what you're talking about is terrific. Like bundle things up in a way that this didn't make it, but it's a gem.
Because Disney used to do it all the time with their re-releases that they used to do. Instead of doing these live action remakes, they would just re-release their classics and introduce them to a whole new. I mean, I vividly remember seeing Fantasia on the big screen as a little girl, because when I was little, it was really important that I wanted to feel like an adult. I hated being little. So anything, so to me, Fantasia was a
I
grown-up
mean,
movie.
my daughter, she hated being little.
Fantasia was a grown-up movie. So to
Yeah.
go to a grown-up movie was like very important to me. And I really remember, I remember watching, I remember, just because I love animation. I've always loved animation. And uh I don't know, I wish that they would embrace that a little bit more. Uh
Done. We need some good
yeah.
hosts, some
Yes.
good curators to bundle these things up. And
Disney, if you're listening, we're available. We
yeah, and
can
it
help
doesn't
you.
just Disney, it could be anything. I mean, and I
Absolutely.
love streaming. I've seen some incredible
Mhm.
things streaming. I mean, Masterworks streaming. That British series, Adolescence, about
Oh, I
incest.
haven't seen that.
Oh
Yeah.
my
I
God.
am so out of the loop when it comes to television shows. If it's not on Hallmark, because I cover Hallmark on my
Yeah,
podcast, but if it's not on Hallmark, usually I haven't seen it because
yeah,
I
no,
just I spend so much time on theater and film. I
there's so much.
don't have
There's
time for
so much
television.
out there. So
Yeah.
your suggestion again is a really good one. Bundling things up and marketing them in bite size,
Yeah.
chunks where you can say, "Oh, I could drop into that for a week or for an afternoon or for a
Yes.
weekend to binge or something." I would watch that.
Yeah, me
Really.
too.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
Well, we like to end our interviews with some fun, get to know you questions,
Oh,
rapid
okay.
fire. So,
Yeah.
first question, what is the best ice cream flavor?
Maple walnut.
Oh, that sounds good. What's your favorite color?
Black.
Okay, good, good. What music are you into?
Oh, right now I'm into this person. Oh my gosh, Max Richter.
Oh,
I love
okay.
that Max Richter, symphonic contemporary. He did something called the Four Seasons. He reinterpreted
Uh-huh.
that, so it's kind of a fusion thing. Yeah.
Cool, cool. What is your go-to date night
Or
food?
maybe it's Hans Richter. I can't remember. Max, no, it might be Max Richter. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. What is your go-to date night food?
Oh, you mean at a movie?
Or just wherever. You're
Pasta, just a big
awesome.
bowl of spaghetti.
Yeah. Okay. What is your go-to date night activity for going out and doing something?
Dinner out.
Yeah.
Just love having dinner out, wine at a very glamorous, in a very but comfortable
Yeah.
surrounding. I know those things sound antithetical, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. Which do you like better, dogs or cats?
Cats.
Okay,
Hands down. I
good.
love animals. I love cats. Virgil is wonderful.
Oh,
He's sitting right here behind my computer screen. Yeah.
yeah. Which do you like better, beaches or mountains?
Mm. Mountains.
Okay, good. What is your favorite holiday to celebrate?
I like Thanksgiving.
Oh, good. Okay, good. All right, last question. What is your favorite romantic movie?
Oh, golly. Romantic. I don't know. It's like probably a toss-up between the Philadelphia Story
Good one.
and maybe Call Me by Your Name,
Oh,
which
good choices. Yeah, very
love.
good. Well, you did it. You answered all the questions. Yay. Thank you so much for coming and talking. This was a blast. I hope to definitely have you back on. And just thank you so much for all that you have done for female critics and
Keep
just being
on
an
going.
incredible
We need
voice.
our voices out there. We
Yes.
need to be a big, vital part of the conversation. Yeah, all the time.
So if people will like want to follow you, I know you have a website. How
I
do
have a
they
website called joyceschoices.com. So you can you can check that out. It's a lot of theater, more theater than movies lately. You can see me, you can hear me on NPR, the radio here, GBH, locally in Boston on The Culture Show. And you can follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and X. I
Great.
stayed on X because we need to go wherever people are who need our information.
Yes.
Cannot surrender the platform. So yeah, and I hope to be on
Yes.
a few more platforms soon. But
Very good. Very good. We'll have all the information in the descriptions. Make sure y'all follow Joyce. And thanks again. I really appreciate it.
thank you, Rachel.
I'd like to thank Joyce for coming on the podcast. This was so much fun to get to talk with her. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Please put your comments in the comment section or on Twitter. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. Check that out. Or you follow me at Hallmarkies Podcast. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. I really appreciate that. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and check out my playlist with all of my female film critics panels episodes. So definitely please take a look at that. And I have the Patreon group, which is the biggest way you can support everything I'm doing. And you get to be part of watch alongs and bonus episodes, some really cool content. So make sure you check that out. And also we have the merch store. You can get female film critics panels merch. So check that out. And thanks again to Joyce. And we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.